Michigan to play, and it's a big game for us. And we approached it that way, and we always will approach it that way. Hung in there initially. You know, I think the third quarter hurt us with the first interception, and then at the beginning of the fourth quarter, I guess the block punt that we exchanged there, third and fourth quarter, the block punt sort of turned it. We had an ugly, obviously very ugly fourth quarter. Too many problems, too many situations. Credit Michigan, they played extremely well on defense and offense. You know, I talked about them having shock, and we had to play to respond with that same type of shock and explosiveness. So they got after the quarterback, pressured the quarterback. We were unable to run the ball effectively enough at all, and thought we hung in there a little bit there as we went forward. Defensively, got to stay on our feet and play the bubble screens, the RPOs. Too many third down opportunities where we have a chance to get off the field, but we do not. Some credit to them, some discredit to us in terms of coverage played or whatever. So disappointing opportunity, lost. As we go forward, you know, we got to recollect ourselves, and we lost Josiah Scott early in the game, so we recollect ourselves and get ready to play our next one. And so that's the focus. Our focus will always be on what happens next. What happens next after this particular game. So that'll be our focus, and we'll move forward. So disappointing, but we'll rally back. Questions?
Mark, the last 2 weeks, 753 yards given up through the air.
Yeah, gotta make a play. And there's cover one, which is man coverage with middle of field safety. There's cover two. There's 2 deep and 5 under. There's drop 8, simulated things. There's zone pressures. We didn't hit the quarterback enough today. Did not sack him as I think about it. Maybe we sacked him once. But got to make plays on the ball in the deep part of the field. That's part of it. And you've got to have guys who can go up and make it on the offensive side. And obviously they did that. 3rd and 20 or so, you know, got to make a play on the ball. So that's not to sit there and say it's players or it's coaches. It's all combined.
Can you talk about the lack of discipline? You had the 30 yards and penalties in that one when you were kind of driving, the game still tied. And I know Jacob gets thrown out of the game late. Were you disappointed in some of those?
Disappointed in those because we talk about keeping our composure. I think the game was called close. I think it was called close in terms of by the referees, by the officiating crew, due to the, you know, everything that goes on in this game. So I think it was called close. So I'm not sure until you see the film, but I know the one series where we're down on, I think we're on about the 40-yard line or so. We get a holding call plus a taunting, which, you know, I'm not sure I saw that, but it's right on our sidelines. But it does. That's a 25-yard penalty that negates it. So when you have opportunities, you got to make good on your opportunities, and we have too few of opportunities. So the percentages need to go up when we have so few opportunities.
Mark, we saw a lot of youth, kind of that movement continue. I think 12 true freshmen play today.
Yeah.
Is that, I mean, you say you're talking about focus on the next game, but that's even more in the future.
You know, we got a lot of guys out. So, you know, that necessitates younger players playing at times. Other times they have an opportunity because of what they've done. So, yeah, we got young players playing, but you know that's the only way you get better. I said that last week.
Mark, why did you stick with Brian and not get any of the younger quarterbacks reps?
Because we continue to compete at that point in time. The game sort of went from 24 to 10 to 31 to 10 to 37 to 10, and then boom, very quickly from there on, you know, very quickly. So I just didn't want to go that direction, to be honest with you. I just felt like we wanted to keep banging forward, and so that's what we did.
Jalen Naylor, we saw him at least in uniform. We didn't see him play. Is that an indication he's close?
Yeah, I think he'll play next week. Just I didn't feel like we sort of left it up to him, but felt like he hadn't practiced, but really Thursday's practice. He was able to run this week, but not practice until Thursday. So too few practice reps, too many, you know, so he hadn't been touched yet or hit yet. So we just wanted to keep him safe and ready.
Will a loss like this to Michigan reinvigorate you at all?
Well, I don't like losing these guys. That's the question. So I don't think you gotta reinvigorate it. I don't like losing, period. But, gotta get ready for the next one. Gotta get ready for the next one. A lot of disappointing things that we need to correct. But I continue to hold our players accountable to how they play, but also in how hard they play. And I think we're gonna play hard. We will play hard. We'll get ready to play. Our chemistry, I think, is good. And I think that our work ethic on the field on game days is solid. We'll come to play and compete. Gotta play better, though.
Mark,
Things better.
144-27 against Ohio State, Wisconsin, Penn State, and Michigan. What do you need to do to be more competitive in these games?
I guess you even up the scores, yeah. Common sense would say you just even it up. Gotta play better. That's how you take things forward. You know, when there's statistically there's an imbalance, whether it's running the football, passing the football, or scoring production, then you got to even it up. How do you even it up? You got to make plays. There's no magic to that. You got to make plays sometimes. The ball's in the air. You got to make a play. Got to call the right play. Call the right defense. Okay, so it's all inclusive. That's why they call it a team. It's all inclusive. And we've got to stay together as a team. Not point fingers, not point thumbs. I want to point thumbs. You should point thumbs, but not point too many fingers and say it's this or it's that. You got to collectively get on the same page and move forward. That's the only way we've ever tried to do this, and so that's what we'll continue to try to do. Even it up.
Mark, without a win since the end of September, do you feel like it's as much mentally? I know there's execution that's not happening.
Now, I think,
Players hurt, but
I think success breeds confidence, or, I do. I think that happens. When you're successful, you get hot, you get on a roll, and those type of things. That's gonna happen, and what has to happen is the leader, myself, coach, player, somebody has to be able to turn the switch too. You have to be able to turn the switch and keep moving forward. So gotta flip it, but we've had some tough games, but last week's game was a tough one to stomach. We played 4 good football teams that we should be able to compete with.
Is Josiah anything you think is long-term or more of just a short-term injury?
I'm hoping short-term. There's possibility.
Back to what you said off Jack's question, why do you think it hasn't been all-inclusive with coaching playing in these bigger games this year?
With what? Good year.
Sorry, why do you think it hasn't been all-inclusive with your coaching staff and players in these big games, and it's created that lopsided imbalance?
Because of turnovers. I think my feeling is you've got to be able to make a big play, got to create explosive plays, and then negate explosive plays. And you got to win the turnover margin. And from my perspective, I don't think we've won the turnover margin in any of these games since we were 4-1. And so when you put the ball on the ground, it makes things even more difficult. When you look at the game, they got 13 first. We got 13 opportunities to get off the field. They got 13 opportunities to get off the field. So they were 8 for 13 as I look at this, which is far too much. So we got to get them off the field on 3rd down, and you got to win the crucial situations. You got to play situational football. You got to understand the situations, which some of those are universal. When I say universal, if it's 3rd and 20, they're not usually going to throw the ball for a 3-yard route. They're usually going uptown. Okay, or there's certain things that are orchestrated throughout the week that say this is a universal. When they do such and such by formation, this is what they do. These are the things you have to defend, these 3 things. And conversely, on the other side of the ball, you need to look at things and say the same. So got to win the turnover margin, I would say. That's the biggest thing. And you got to be able to run the football and stay balanced on offense.
Mark, before this season, my sense was you really had high hopes for this group and liked this team a lot. And I'm wondering what you didn't see then that you're seeing now, what you didn't predict that's kind of transpired.
Well, I didn't predict that we'd have 5 offensive linemen out. So, I didn't predict that we'd have 3 wide receivers out, or two of our better wide receivers out. Had a lot of injuries on our offensive side of the ball. We've stayed pretty much intact on the defensive side of the ball. I didn't anticipate that they would throw the ball as effectively as they have. Pretty much had their whole secondary back from last year. I would say it was a top 10 defense as a whole. Right now, we're not performing to that level as a group. Now, there's a lot of things that go into that, and I think we're talking in broader, bigger pictures right now than relative to just this game. But there's a lot that goes into it, and some of it is confidence and those type of things. So